Hey everybody, JJ here. Welcome back for another episode of Zoom Networking. We're having a special Wednesday edition. Young man's coming on who is a friggin' genius in real estate. He's building his reputation on his talent, his skill, entrepreneur, business person, leading by example. Young man, I'm pleased to have on today with us, Mr. Munif Saza. Munif, how you doing today, brother?
Hello, JJ. I am so good. How are you?
Oh, brother, I'm thrilled that you're here. I've been so excited about your topic today. But before we get going, can you briefly talk about what you're going to be speaking on?
Yeah, for sure. So today I'm going to be speaking on how to find your very first Airbnb. If you've never owned an Airbnb before, how to find an Airbnb deal, and then how to fund that Airbnb deal.
Gold. So with no further ado, brother, take it away.
Awesome. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Munif Saza. I see some familiar faces here. I see Leo here. I see Naaman here. I see Yara. I see Don. I'm so excited to see some friendly and familiar faces. First of all, thank you so much, JJ, for hosting me, for having me here. Real quick before we get into Airbnbs, I want to emphasize how important networking is. How important networking is. My partner, Noah Hoffman, Airbnb King Noah, I met him at a networking event. We met there, we became friends first, and then we did a joint venture on one Airbnb deal. And then we made a goal to buy 100 Airbnbs using creative finance and other people's money. And now we are on a fast track to that trajectory. I met Noah Hoffman at a networking event very similar to this. So guys, comment, add each other as friends, network in the chat, message each other, work on your social media profiles. Listen to the advice that JJ gives you. So for those of you who do not know me, my name is Munif Saza. I'm a first generation immigrant. I was born in Bangladesh. I wasn't born here. I grew up here after spending my childhood in Canada. My dad was an architect. He and my mom flew from a third world country on a visa. They struggled. My dad was an architect in Bangladesh, but in Canada, they didn't need architects. So he actually delivered mail on foot in the harsh Canadian winters. My mom was a seamstress. When my dad's coworker lost his leg due to frostbite, my dad said, no way, ain't no way I'm doing this. He put us all, me, my baby brother, my mom, in the back of a car and drove all the way to Baltimore, Maryland from Winnipeg, Canada. Drove us there. Nothing but dreams and $500 in his pocket. One thing led to another. My dad was able to stabilize. We moved to Virginia. We had a primary house. We had a rental house. My dad opened a new business. We had 2 cars. We lost everything in that. Like I was a kid. I saw the repo people take away our car. Our entire family had to move into an apartment. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I don't ever want this to happen to me or my family ever again. I thought I was going to be a doctor. I went to school. I studied biomedical engineering. I got a degree in it. And I shadowed doctors. And I was like, this isn't for me. I switched careers. I became a cybersecurity engineer. I got formal engineering training. I got my clearances and certs and all that stuff. And I became a cybersecurity engineer. And I had a job, and I was like, this isn't for me. This could happen. I could lose my job and I could have all of my stuff taken away. Just like my dad happened back in 2007, 2008. I need financial freedom. I need a vehicle to feed my family. So I got into real estate in 2019. Took a second mortgage on my home that I saved up for. I saved up my money, bought a home. I thought it was your home was your biggest investment, your primary residence. That's your biggest investment. I saved up. I did it. And I read this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm sure a lot of you have read that book. It taught me to think differently. So I went through different mentorships and different educations. I got a second mortgage to finance and pay for all this education. For 2 years, I never got a deal. It was going like broke and broke. I was dumping money into this. And for 2 years, I got no deal. And then somebody close to me said, "Hey, have you heard of Pace Morby?" I was like, "No, who's Pace?" I listened to one of his seller calls. Now he was educating somebody on creative finance. And something spoke to me, just the way he speaks. Something spoke to me. I was like, this guy's legit. This guy's the real deal. So I want to join this program. I want to get close to this guy. And I joined the program. And in 2 months, I get my first deal. 2 months. It was a fraction of the cost of everything else. And I get my first deal. I'm like, oh my gosh, this taught me something. Every other program taught me I have to do everything myself. This program taught me you can work with others and make money. I squatted up on my first deal. I joint ventured with 2 other sub-2 students. I made $4,000. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have to be good at everything. I don't have to be good at this. I don't have to be good at that. I don't have to be good at systems. I don't have to be good at pulling lists. I can just do one thing really well, which for me, it was talking to sellers. Found my first deal. I was terrified of talking to sellers. I get on in the role play practices and I'm really scared and nervous. And I do that every day until I get really good at talking to sellers. Next thing I know, I'm up there on the Closers Olympics with Naaman. And I win second place. I win second place in this national competition of closers, just the best of the best. And I get this prize and I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck happened? And it's just the power of focus, the power of just honing in, getting really, really good at one thing. Then I meet Noah. At this networking event. We become friends and we hit it off. And a few months later, he messages me. This is back in December, end of November. He messages me, he goes, haha, buddy, when are we going to JV on an Airbnb together? And I know nothing about Airbnbs. I know nothing about Airbnbs at all. This is back in November. And I go, no, I'd love to JV with you. Let me find one first. Let me find one. So I call up wholesalers. And I'm on the phone with my cousin, who's a wholesaler. He's a wholesaler in sub-2. And I go, hey, brother, you wouldn't happen to have an Airbnb for sale, would you? And he goes, yeah, I actually do. I actually have an Airbnb. Funny you said that. I'm actually trying to sell it. So I get him. I get Noah on the phone. We have a 3-way conversation. This deal was a deal that my cousin Faisal had locked up. It's a 0% down to the seller, 2% interest rate, subject to deal. House was built back in 2019. Brand new house. Noah and I underwrite it. We spend 2 hours on the phone. We underwrite it. Noah's like, let's do it. Let's buy it. We tell Faiz, we're going to buy it. Let's go. Next day, Noah and I look at each other. All right, Noah, how much money do you have? Noah goes, bro, I'm broke right now. I'm broke. I just bought 3 houses. Like, I'm broke. I got no cash. Munif, how much cash do you have? I'm like, Noah, I'm just paying back all my debts, man. I have no cash. How are we going to fund this thing? How are we going to pay for this? We go, no problem. Let's raise some private capital. In 3 days, we raise $100,000. Completely fund our entry fee. And we get it funded. And now we're like, okay, well, no one knows everything there is to know about Airbnb, setting up and managing them and underwriting them. I know how to negotiate deals with private money lenders and wholesalers and sellers. So we get this deal funded and we go, wait a minute, why stop at 1? Why not get 10? Why not get 20? Why not get 30? Now our goal is 100 using this model. And this is a model I want to teach you. I want you to be able to do this model, no matter where you are in your business. You might have 10 rentals, you might have 50 rentals or 30 rentals, and you might want to convert some of them into Airbnbs. Why the heck should I ever convert my rentals into Airbnbs? It's one word. It's cash flow. Cash flow is why you'd want to convert a rental into an Airbnb. You can 2x or even 3x your cash flow. In some markets, you can 4x your cash flow. It's insane. It's insane. Some markets, you can 10x your cash flow. It's crazy. And when people think Airbnb, they think they have this misconception. It's got to be a vacation rental. People only get Airbnbs when they go on vacation. That's a misconception. That's a limitation you put on yourself through your own experiences. That's not true. Travel nurses need Airbnbs. Traveling workers need Airbnbs. Pace Morby is filming a TV show right now. The entire film crew is staying in Airbnbs. So I say, this is what we say. Me and Noah, we say, hey, is this a good market? When someone asks us, hey, is this be a good area for Airbnbs? The first thing we ask is, are there hotels there? Are there motels there? How are they doing? Because our competition isn't vacation rentals, it's hotels. Those are our competitors. The hotel industry, the hospitality industry. If it's a destination where people can travel for work or attractions, where they book a hotel, now they're booking Airbnbs. People work remotely due to COVID. People think that COVID would have crushed Airbnbs. Actually, Airbnbs never did better because now people can work from wherever they want. So you can live 4 months, 5 months in Alaska, Texas, San Diego. Where are you going to stay? You got to get a 6-month lease, 12-month lease? No. Get an Airbnb. So what I'm doing, and I'll get into some of the details, some of the meat and potatoes in this call, but it's impossible for me to break down every aspect of our business in this meeting. So what Noah, Leo, and Leo is our third partner, we're doing a 90-day program, completely free. It's a completely free program. It's a 90-day event. We meet every single week, and we're going to use Leo as a case study. Leo Valentino is our friend. He is a master networker. He's 19 years old, never owned an Airbnb in his life. And we're going to show him as a case study that we're going to prove this out. And we'll invite you to join us. In 90 days, we take Leo, never owned an Airbnb. We show him how to find his first deal, how to fund his first deal, how to fix it up and turn it into an Airbnb. And we show you all of it. It's a free event. We just wanted to give you guys that value. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Let's talk about, how do you find an Airbnb deal? Well, depends. What can you do? Do you have a W-2? Do you have cash? Do you have credit? If you have credit, if you have W-2 income and you can qualify for loans and mortgages, you've got a way easier time. You can cherry pick the markets you want to be in. You can cherry pick the markets you want to be in. You go to a market, you can go on Airbnb.com. You can figure out the markets you want to be in, where markets that have appreciation. You can go to markets that have cash flow. Typically, you don't get both. Both is usually a unicorn market. You can either go for appreciation or cash flow. It does not have to be a vacation town, as we talked about. Just think of areas you want to invest in and see how Airbnbs are performing by just using the app. Get on the Airbnb app, put an address in, and see what similar properties are charging on a nightly basis. What I like to do, there's different ways to analyze. We actually get very deep into it, but just one simple thing I like to do is I like to put in the address. I like to put in a week stay. If I was going to stay for a week, whatever that number is, I like to just multiply by 3. It's like 21 days. just to get an idea of like, okay, how much gross income am I going to get from this property on a monthly basis? It can surprise you how much you can make actually. So if you have access to W-2 income and you've got good credit score and you're, pretty flush with money and you can make a 20, 25% down payment and you've got lenders, you can just buy off of the MLS. No problem. Some people think you shouldn't. It's like, if you can, then do it. The right answer is whatever you need to get started. Just because I'm buying on creative finance doesn't mean you have to. If you have the ability to buy traditionally, buy traditionally. I don't have the ability to do that. My credit is new. I'm younger. I actually left my W-2. So that's gone. They're not going to prove me for that. I buy on creative. I buy property every other week, just about. We bought 6 properties in 6 weeks. When I say buy, I mean buy. Like, we own them. We're on title. And I'm not going to get into teaching you creative finance. That's what Sub 2's for. But you can buy from Sub 2 students. Sub 2 students are selling creative deals every single day. Every single day, Sub 2 students sell creative deals. The deal I bought from my cousin, he tried to sell that. He's been trying to sell it. No one was buying it because he's selling it at ARV. The seller had no equity. She had just bought the house on an FHA loan, or excuse me, it was a VA loan. So she bought it with $0 down. She had to move. There was a divorce, and she was on title. She divorced, and she's like, I got to sell this. I can't keep these payments up. And she missed a couple payments, and wholesalers were calling her, and the house's ARV was 415. Her loan amount was like 415 plus some arrears or something like that. It was very close. And wholesalers were like, no way. Like, there's no money in this. Realtors were like, well, we can list it, but you're going to have to pay out of pocket to sell this. And then Fies came and he said, hey, look, I can make it so you don't lose money when you sell this house. We'll just take over your existing debt. And he found this deal. It's a great deal. He sells it. He mentions it. He goes, hey, Houston, I got this great deal. Who wants to buy this house? And no one wanted to buy it. They're like, what do you mean? You're selling it at ARV. I'm an investor. I don't buy below market value. I don't buy at retail. I'm an investor. I don't buy at retail. Where me and Noah saw it and we go, wait a minute, you're telling me we can own this house by paying a couple $1,000s in arrears, by paying you an assignment fee, and we literally don't have to go qualify for a loan. We're buying a $415,000 house for a small entry for a fraction. Sign us up. Where he was getting $0. No one was buying this. I paid my cousin $21,000 in assignment fee. $21,000. I paid $21,000 in assignment fee. Paid $4,000 in closing costs. Fix it up, about $10,000. Then I furnished it. You have to furnish, guys. Don't forget, you have to furnish your Airbnbs. We spent upwards of $25,000 to $30,000 just on the furnishing because it's a big, beautiful house. Big house. In 11 days, that house generated $5,500 in 11 days. We are getting our money back in a year. I did not have to go qualify for a loan. I did not have to get my own cash. I did not have to use my own credit. I just knew what a deal was. I knew who to go to. So the way to find these deals is go one of the biggest Facebook pages in the world for creative finance is Creative Finance with Pace Morgan. Go join that group. Go look at deals there. Now, funding deals. How do you fund a deal? How do you get private money? What if you have your own money? Perfect. You can fund the entry fee yourself. Entry fees can cost anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000. And if you got the cash, then do it. Great. What is an entry fee? Well, I don't want to get into nitty gritties of all the aspects of an entry fee, but it's just all the costs that go in to owning that deal. So it's like closing costs, down payment to seller, if you have arrears, paying those off. If you got to paint and fix some stuff up, those are costs, right? You have to include those. All your costs before that Airbnb is ready, we can press the button, right? The setup, furniture, art, all that stuff, cleaners, all those costs that you're entering. If you don't have the cash for it, well, if you do have the cash, great, fund it. But if you don't have the cash for it, how do you buy these? You raise the private money. Now, there's multiple ways to raise private money. One way, it's a lot harder. It's to say, hey, lend me money. Lend me money at this interest rate. And I'll let you put a lien on the property, just like a bank would. I'll give you this interest rate every month, and after X amount of time, I'll give you all of your money back. It's a little difficult if you don't have a big backing, if you don't have high credibility, you're not very established. It's difficult to get those deals. Another way to get your deals funded, this is my preferred way to teach newer people. If you're newer and you've never borrowed money before, maybe it's your first deal ever, I would say partner with your lender. Partner with your lender, squat up with your lender, tell your lender, hey, look, I got this great deal. I'm going to turn it into an Airbnb. We'll actually find a company like Noah's company who will set up and manage the Airbnb. And there's tons of companies. You don't have to use Noah's. There's tons of companies that will set up and manage the Airbnb for you. I'm going to find a company, got a great deal. I want you to be my 50-50 partner. I brought the deal. You bring the funds, that just the entry fee, because it's a creative deal. You bring the entry fee, and I'll give you from the pie, we will give you an interest rate every month on your entry fee. Every month you get an interest rate, and we'll pay the lenders off. You're one of the lenders, and we'll both own it. And whatever's left, we'll split it down the middle. We'll split the appreciation, we'll split the tax benefits, we'll split this down the middle. And you'll see that a lot of lenders will be very, very thrilled to now start funding your Airbnbs. Or maybe you're getting 0 Airbnbs. Maybe you have 1 that you half own. Then you get 2 that you half own. And half owning 2 Airbnbs is kind of like fully owning 1. Now you're in 2 that you half own. It's kind of like owning 1 that you fully own with none of your money. So now let's say you found a lender. You found a lender. You've got an Airbnb deal. You close escrow. You've got to repair the property. Every single property needs some level of repair. When someone tells me this needs nothing, I get nervous. When a wholesaler, anybody tells me this property is move-in ready, I get nervous. I go, no way. That's too good to be true. So you need repairs. And then you need to set it up. The setup costs include things like security cameras. We use OnTech. We hire a security company that put in cameras and smart doorbells and things like that and integrate it with the Wi-Fi. Smart locks, it's all integrated. Setting up the smart system, setting up the lights, setting up the furniture, the art, these small things, they add up. So the setup has a cost associated to it, which is furniture, art, and labor. Sometimes you paint it. Once you get the property set up, you have to schedule certain things on automation. You have to schedule cleaners. You have to schedule handymen. We started implementing hospitality inspectors. When a guest checks out, and so our model is remote. We don't manage properties we live near. We manage all across the country. So our model is remote. So we set these properties up, we manage them, and when a guest checks out, the cleaners go in and clean. But who's going to make sure the remote is on the couch where it's supposed to be? Who's going to make sure that the windows are closed or the settings on the fireplace are what they should be? There's small little nuances for every property. There was an example, one house, I know somebody who, there's a TV missing. A guest stole a TV. The cleaners didn't know. And so we're creating this system of hospitality inspectors where it's just a local person, somebody who lives like 5 minutes away, and maybe they have like a video walkthrough of what the property should look like when it's ready. And they come in and they just get those things up. Like they make sure that the room and the art and the furniture, sometimes guests rearrange the furniture. And if you just have your cleaners going, the cleaners don't know what the furniture should look like. So they'll come in and they'll know, okay, this is where the couch is and the TV and this and that. So it's 95% just making sure things are where they ought to be. And then 5% hands-on cleaning and fixing. There's like a, squeaky door. It's like, hey, they'll fix it a little bit. If the cleaners forgot to clean the inside of the microwave and there's a little bit of food stains, they'll clean it. So it's this hospitality inspection that's important. And those are the small things. And we'll talk about it. It's not enough time for me to get into all the nuances of Airbnbs. But those are the small things you can do to get your Airbnb from 4 stars to 5 stars.
Hey, Munif, that was fantastic, brother. I definitely want to hear more about your system and about the way that you've acquired all these Airbnbs, because one of my goals this year is to acquire 10 passive income properties by the end of the year. And that's so awesome. They could be Airbnbs even so much better. So that's something I definitely want to find out about. I know we'll be asking questions pertaining to that in the Q&A. But before the Q&A, we're going to go to the breakout rooms. But if you guys are watching the channel on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. If you guys are on the call right now, hang on. We're going to do the breakout rooms for a short bit before we get to the Q&A. And everybody else, we'll see you next week. Over and out.